honestly don't even know why I'm starting this right now, because I'm not even gonna have enough time to finish it. I have like 10 minutes before I have to go in and start my shift. So this definitely probably won't even go out until tomorrow night. Today is Monday, Monday, October 6th, right? Going into the full moon. Full moon won't hit for me in my time zone until tomorrow morning, right? Which is, you know, whatever. It's a full moon. So I hate that, like, this full moon energy, this is what we're doing. I wasn't even going to dignify this with doing a video. I was not even going to dignify this with doing a video. And the only reason why I am is because at this point, I'm starting to feel like a broken record. And normally when things like this happen, I would hit that return to sender. I would grab my gray candle, or if I'm feeling like extra spicy, I grab my black candle and I would do a return to sender. But this time I'm not even going to dignify, because this attack that was sent on me was so weak. It was so weak. I actually feel sorry for the person that did it, because whoever did it, like, I really hope that they didn't feel like they were really doing something, because this attack was so weak. And this is how I know when I'm being spiritually attacked, when like things show up in my video. First of all, for people who don't know, if you're new to the channel, one of my spirit animals are snakes, right? Snakes and dragons, right? I have dreams about snakes way more than dragons. The snakes are like dragons' descendants anyways, right? But the snakes that come to me in my dreams, these are like big, massive anaconda type snakes that are like filled with wisdom. They're not your average variety garden snake, right? So when someone sent an attack to me, right? And like the thing with me is, like, I face things head on. That era of me running in my dreams, that era of me of running in fear is long gone. So you definitely came too late in the game. And not only that, when it comes to me, right, I'm an old soul. I had one of the most profound dreams. I had one of the most profound dreams, right? And this is a personal dream. I don't do videos on my personal dreams, right? I do every now and then if I feel like there's a lesson to be taught. But dreams like this that are very, very profound, that show me more about my previous lives and who I am and who my soul is as a person, I don't share these kind of things, right? But I had one of the most profound dreams. I've had many cycles. This much I will share. I've had many cycles on Earth. I forget the exact number. I had a dream where I was told, I was talking to Ganesh and what is it, Hanuman, the Hindu deity that's like has like the monkey or the ape face. I was talking to those two deities, and I was going through another cycle. Like, I had just finished a cycle on Earth. I was going through the afterlife. I went back into the spirit realm, and then instead of staying in the spirit realm so that we could it was kind of like a session where after I got done with the cycle, I had to meet with them. They had to tell me everything I did wrong, which most of the time, I remember, God, I gotta go research his name so I make sure I say it right, and I'll have it right when I come back and finish the rest. But Hanuman, he was like a little, Ganesh like loved me so much, right? Ganesh loved me so much, but like the other one, he was a little bit upset because he's like, you keep doing it wrong. He was like, you keep going down here with a specific mission and you keep doing it wrong. So like, I was supposed to have my session with them, but then when I came back to the spirit realm, I was like, okay, I said, before you say anything, I already know. Let me try again. So instead of like sitting down and doing my session, doing my, like, what do you call it? Like, for those who were in the military, the AAR, the Actor Actions Review, I just jumped back through the portal and came right back down to Earth. But anyways, I was told in that dream that I've been on Earth and I've done like, I was given the specific number. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it was basically over 600 cycles that I've done on Earth. So I'm just here to say this. My soul is very ancient. My soul is very, 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 very ancient, right? For people who like, some people are like believers of the Anunnaki. Some people who are in spirituality, they don't really go that deep into it. I can just say that I've had dreams where I've had encounters with the Anunnaki. So that's how ancient my soul is. And I won't go any further than that. But I'm a very ancient soul. Right? So I'm here on my spiritual journey. And in this lifetime, I came to spirituality late. And most of my lifetimes, I enter spirituality and that kind of like, what do you call it? That young adulthood. Some of my lifetimes, like teenage years, other lifetimes, that kind of college years where you're kind of exploring and learning new things. In this particular life, I came into spirituality extremely late, right? So I'm a little bit behind in the game. Right, because I was supposed to have a major transformation when I was in college. I was actually supposed to have gone to college for something different than, but you know, we have free will, and I changed my path. I had something very specific that I wanted to go to college for, and I allowed someone to talk me out of it because they said there would be no money in it. And the thing is that not only does what I wanted to go to school for originally align with my soul, it aligns with my personality. And even if you pull my natal chart, whether it's Western astrology, Vedic astrology, if you pull my natal chart and you do Chinese astrology or Vietnamese, I think in Chinese astrology I'm a rabbit, and Vietnamese astrology I'm a cat, right? But if you it doesn't matter which chart you pull from me, all of them say that this is what I should have done. And the strange, well, not so strange thing about it is that's what I wanted to go to school for. But because like science and technology and all of that was the big wave, I allowed that to deter me because I was like chasing the money instead of chasing my passion, right? So that's what got me off track, right? But I digress, right? I'm an old soul, excuse me. So even though I'm coming into spirituality late, like where I am right now, and with each passing year, I continue to progress. I continue to go deeper. I continue to have more spiritual gifts being unlocked, right? I already knew when I had one of my readings and I was told that I was destined for a specific path, which I'm actually not. I have my soul. I have the free will to do whatever I want. I can either choose a specific religion, whether it be, like, cause I was told that I was supposed to be, Ifa, Ifa and the Ifa religion. The Yoruba religion. I was also told that I was supposed to follow the Hindu religion. A lot of people told me that I was supposed to, or I've had people tell me, oh, well, you have strong ties to the Kemetic deities. You're supposed to be following that religion. So it's like, I have strong ties to deities across all pantheons. Mine doesn't span to anything specific. I have, the Orisha. I have Hindu deities. I have the Kemetic deities. I have ancient Chinese deities. I have deities from all across the world, like all across many cultures that show up for me in my dreams. Greek deities, ancient Sumerian deities, all of that stuff. So I'm not pigeonholed to anything. My soul, I can do whichever path I choose. And I kind of just chose to forge my own path, right? But needless to say, because I didn't want to feel like, because I have so many different deities that show up for me, that help me, that guide me, I didn't want to alienate anybody by choosing a specific religion, right? So I was like, I'm just going to do my own thing, right? But anyways, my soul is very ancient. So even though I'm coming into spirituality late, I continue to get more powerful and I continue to gain more knowledge and to grow with each passing year, especially as I go through my hermit modes where I really go within and I look within and I heal, within. It gives me that deeper connection, right? So even though I'm late in the game, literally where I am now, first of all, where I am now, I'm light years ahead of where I was, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But where I am now is just child's play compared to what my soul is capable of, right? That's really the message here. Where I am is child's play compared to what my soul is capable of. So this person who sent me this spiritual attack, this attack was so weak. It was so weak. I wasn't even going to dignify it with a return to sender, because if I would have did a return to sender to this person, it would destroy their entire life. Because this person is so low level in terms of hierarchy. This person is so low level, you don't even know who you're messing with, right? And I don't say that to be cocky or anything. Like I said, I have so much more growing to do. Where I am right now, I'm going to reiterate this again. Where I am right now is child's play compared to where my soul can actually take me, right? But this person is so low level that I'm not even going to dignify it with a return to sender or with returning that energy back, because if I did, it's going to be multiplied to the level where this person's life is going to be destroyed. And the sad thing about it is this person is already miserable with where they're at now anyways. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but apparently one more time won't hurt. If you're doing spell work against someone because you are angry, you are upset, you are jealous of that person, that spell work is not going to work, right? And I'm taking spiritual hierarchy out of the equation here. Excuse me. I'm taking spiritual hierarchy. Y'all, normally I have my water. Okay, I don't even know where that cut off because my alarm started going off to tell me it's time to go in. Normally, when I do these, I have my water with me because I get to talking so a lot that I dry my throat out, right? And I don't have my water with me today. But anyways, I'm taking spiritual hierarchy out of the equation. Let's just talk about intent, right? Let's talk about intent. If you are attacking someone, now, if someone does something to you, if someone crosses you, comes against you, does something to try to put you in harm's way or to try to put you in a lesser position, right? If someone does something to try to put you in a position of struggle or hardship, and you want to send that energy back, or if someone is coming into your life and wreaking all kind of havoc and all kind of chaos, and you want to do like a freezer spell to calm them down and put them in the freezer, that's absolutely fine, right? Because your intent is not really to attack that person. It's to stop that person from attacking you, right? But when you try to do magic, or you try to freeze, or you try to send something against someone who's never done anything to you, when you get so worked up, and it's like these people who listen to a reading and they want to get on and comment, this is not true, you don't know what you're talking about, I'm the victim. People who want to leave these paragraph ass posts explaining, like, ma'am, either one or two things: either this is not your reading, or you are not the victim that you keep portraying yourself to be. And a lot of people portray themselves to be the victim when they're actually the perpetrator. I'm going to say this once again, because like I said, I've said it so many times, but apparently one more time won't hurt, because people don't seem to get it. People have free will. You cannot attack someone. You cannot put someone in a jar. You cannot throw dirt on someone's name. You cannot flush someone down the toilet just because they did something that upsets you, if it wasn't something that was an intent attack against you. If you were in a third party and someone chose someone else, guess what? I don't know. It's my prerogative. That's their choice. If they decided to go with, whether that choice was better or worse does not matter. If they decided to go with someone else, that's their choice. If you come across a reading or a reader on any sort of social media platform, and you don't like what that reader has to say, or you don't like their platform, you can simply not follow them. You can simply not watch their videos. But to spend all of that energy trying to attack them and trying to leave rude and nasty comments, and then try to do something against that person, it's not going to work, because that person never did anything. You are attacking someone who never did anything to you, either because you're jealous, you're mad, you're upset that something didn't work in your favor. And all of that stuff is going to be canceled out, because the intent behind it is not pure. So all of those attacks are going to be canceled. First of all, like I said, snakes are my spirit animal. So when I see like snakes trying to attack me in my dreams, especially when my spirit animals, like I said, are big, giant anaconda type snakes, and someone sends this little variety garden snake against me, like, this is a joke. This is a joke. When I tell you, I was walking up on this snake and it started hissing, but see, like the way that I'm built, I'm not running from this. So I walked up on it. When I tell you, this snake coiled so fast, but not coiled in a way where it was getting you know, when snakes coil when they're getting ready to leap out and attack, not coil in a defensive mode. When I walked up on it, this snake coiled. And then when I got close enough to actually reach it, this damn thing, excuse my language, was asleep. This thing went to sleep. I walked up on this snake and it went to sleep. This attack was weak. This is probably like I said, I feel sorry for the person who did this. This has to be the weakest attack that anyone has ever sent for me, to the point where I'm making a video because I feel bad for you, right? I feel bad for you because something in your life, right? Maybe everything in your life, it does not matter. It's not going the way that you intend. And instead of looking within, right? Instead of fixing you, because the problem starts with you. You got to start with the man in the mirror, right? But instead of going within and fixing yourself internally, you want to attack everyone else around you. You want me to tell you how you know you're in the wrong? If you're doing spell work and it's not working, or if you do spell work and it's reversing on you. Like, let's say you have someone in your life and you're like, oh, I'm gonna flush this person down the toilet. I'm gonna do I'm gonna put this person in the freezer. And you put that person in the freezer, and you know, a month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months go by, and this person is still out here living their life, still doing the same things. Nothing has changed. Meanwhile, for you, you're still broke. You still can't find no job. You still can't find no peace. You sitting here about to go out of your mind. Ma'am, the freezer spell did not work on that person. It got reversed, and that's why you are in this mental hell, because it got reversed on you, because you were trying to do spell work on someone and it wasn't warranted. It wasn't warranted. Like I said, if someone attacks you and does something to you and you want to do something to get yourself out of danger, that's one thing. But if you're out here just attacking people because something, or you didn't get a specific outcome that you wanted, it's not going to work, and it's going to get reversed on you, and you're going to be the one in this mental trap living in hell. Meanwhile, that person is still going about their daily life, whether they are wreaking havoc and whether they are, you know, are continuing to bring chaos. That's on them. They'll get their karma in due time. But you're trying to do something against someone because you didn't get a specific outcome that you wanted, and it don't work. It don't work. All of your attacks are being sent back to you. And as a matter of fact, this person who sent this attack is in such mental anguish, is in such mental hell. I didn't even bother sending this shit back because it would have broke this person. Because when I send things back, it gets multiplied. It gets multiplied. And it would have broke this person. And to be honest, I feel sad for this person because I can already tell by your energy that you are already in this, you are in a state so low that if it got any lower, you would probably off yourself. That's how depressed and low this energy feels. That if anything else were to happen, if anything else wrong were to go in this person's life, this person would probably off themselves. And I feel sorry for you, right? But you're gonna learn the hard way. I can tell you this because this person is someone who's very hard-headed. And it's like a jealousy thing. You hear something that you don't like, right? Or you see something that you don't like, or you're jealous, or you don't like it because this person gets this attention and you feel like it should be you, or this and that. But you got to ask yourselves, right? Okay, I didn't realize how much time I had talked over. But some of y'all are looking at things from the outside looking in. And you're looking at people and you're like, well, I don't understand why they're getting this, they're getting that, and I'm putting in so much work. You can't compare. Especially, first of all, you can't compete where you don't compare. But especially when you don't know someone in real life, when you just see someone on social media and you kind of get this perception that you've made up in your mind of who this person is or how this person operates, you don't know how much work someone puts in behind the scenes. You don't know how much work someone puts in behind the scenes. So to say that it's not fair that someone gains something or someone gets something, meanwhile you've been doing the work for years, but you haven't gotten that same thing, or why haven't you gotten your big break yet? Because behind the scenes, how much work are you actually putting? You don't know what that person does. But the one thing you do know is what you do, or rather what you don't do. How much work are you actually putting in? How much work are you actually putting in? Okay, y'all, I apologize for the last portion of that last message. I literally talked so much that I missed my alarm. Actually, my alarm went off and I was like, I'm just gonna say a few more things, and I ended up talking so much that I almost made myself late. So I was rushing to the building trying to record that last bit when I should have just saved it. But anyways, it is officially October 7th. It's, y'all, literally, as I'm sitting here parked outside, I'm looking at the full moon. It is literally directly across me. I didn't even realize that when I first parked. I'm just now seeing it as I'm sitting here talking, and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful, right? I love a full moon. And y'all know it's a full moon in Aries. Whereas typically full moons are talking about release and letting go. A full moon in Aries is a little bit different because Aries is ruled by Mars. And we all know Mars is about action, right? It's about taking bold moves, right? So like, especially to the cardinal signs, I hope you did something special today. I hope you finally made that decision. I hope you finally took that step. I hope you finally got that project started. And for someone, I'm getting like, I hope you finally picked up the phone and made that call. But anyways, full moon in Aries. And speaking of which, while we're talking about it being a full moon in Aries, Aries being ruled by Mars, the god of war, this is not really the type of energy that you really want to be playing in trying to attack someone, right? Especially if you're attacking the wrong person. And this Aries, we already got we already got Mars and Scorpio. So this is definitely, speaking of Scorpio, I'll get to that later. But this is definitely not that type of energy that you want to be playing in. But like, matter of fact, I'll get to it now. Since we're speaking of Scorpio, right? This is a message that I actually got a while ago, right? When I came across this short, you know, like when you click on YouTube and sometimes it'll go directly to shorts and it'll play. And I remember this person saying like, only a Scorpio can read a Scorpio, or only a Scorpio can understand a Scorpio. And I never clicked off something so fast in my life because, first of all, like, what a crock of shit. First of all, like, Scorpio is a very powerful sign, but like, Scorpio is not the almighty. And I say that as actually not being a Scorpio. I'm actually a Cancer. I'm a Gemini Cancer cusp, right? My sun sign is in Cancer, but I'm right there. So I'm a Gemini Cancer cusp, and I feel Gemini energy resonates with me very heavily, but I am a Scorpio rising. So when we talk about like Scorpios being all powerful, you do realize that like your sun sign is basically just your personality. So if you want to give, you know, this almighty title to a Scorpio rising is going to be more Scorpio than a Scorpio sun. And as a Scorpio rising, I still think that's a crock of shit to say that only a Scorpio can read or understand another Scorpio. Actually, coincidentally, did you know that the sign that is best at taming a Scorpio is actually a Capricorn? It's actually a Capricorn. And also coincidentally, I've had like 5 major relationships in my life. 2 of them were with Capricorns and the other 3 were with Scorpios. For some reason, the Cancer in me attracts Scorpios, and then the Scorpio in me attracts Capricorns, right? But either way, I digress, right? Before, previously, when I was talking about how much work are you actually putting in, I want to say this. You guys realize that creating spiritual content is not the same as putting in spiritual work. Y'all excuse me, because I'm getting ready to pick up my phone, so it may sound like I'm coming closer. But creating spiritual content is not the same as putting in spiritual work. When I say spiritual work, I'm talking about shadow work, right? I'm talking about how much do you actually go within, right? How much do you ground? How much do you try to heal past wounds, old trauma and hurt? How much do you connect? When I connect, do you connect with your ancestors? Do you connect with your guides? Do you ask for guidance on how to handle certain situations, right? When things from your past come back up and it triggers you, or when you're in new situations that remind you of your past, or when you see things and you hear things that trigger you, do you ask for guidance on how to handle those situations going forward? Or are you still running off emotion? Right? A lot of you haven't healed. A lot of you have not done the spiritual work. A lot of people just post a lot of spiritual content, and in their mind, they're thinking that by posting content that constitutes doing spiritual work, and it doesn't, right? And you can tell the people who haven't actually done any real spiritual work, because they're the same ones that are still blaming everyone else for all their problems. They're the same ones still blaming the person from their past as to why they're still miserable and upset. It's okay that someone hurt you, but acknowledge it. And then once you've acknowledged it, try to work through it. But if it's many, many years later and you're still blaming that person from your past as to why you're depressed, as to why you're upset, as to why your life is in the state that it's in, then you actually have not healed, right? If you're coming across random YouTube channels and you're jealous of other readers, or you're getting angry and upset at other readers because of things that they're saying, it's because what they're saying is triggering you. And if you're getting so triggered to the point where you're either writing these long paragraph responses telling the person why they're wrong, or they don't know what they're talking about, or trying to explain your side, or if you're doing things like trying to send a text just because someone tells you something that you don't want to hear, you're not healed, right? You're not taking onus into the role. Like, sometimes things happen to us that we had no control over, right? But sometimes we have to take onus into how we move going forward. We can't control what others do, but we can control ourselves. And when you're constantly in this state of wanting to blame and attack others for your unhappiness, you're still in that state of being unhealed. And not only are those attacks not going to work, but they're going to backfire. And then when they do, you're going to end up feeling much worse. I got this message months ago and I ignored it. I didn't even bother sharing it. It wasn't a dream. It was like a download that came through, and it kept saying like, show me the cards so I know that it's real, right? And like the download that came through is like, there's someone out there who, like, you do tarot readings. And if you're someone and like, you know who the person is who's like stealing your readings, it's something about this person who's stealing your readings. When they do their tarot readings, they don't show the cards. They're just speaking. And it's not just that. I remember I came across one channel where this person not only wasn't showing the cards when they were doing tarot, like, it's one thing to do an intuitive reading where you're just speaking and you're saying the downloads, but it's like this person was doing a tarot reading. They weren't showing the cards. And then the entire time you didn't hear any shuffling. You didn't hear any cards flying out or any cards hitting the table. You didn't hear any noise other than this person speaking. So it was like, how do you know this is a real tarot reading, right? And not to say that this person couldn't have shuffled all the cards beforehand. Maybe everything was laying on the table beforehand and then they were just going back and doing the reading later. But I don't know why it gave like this energy of this person probably stole this reading from someone else, right? This person probably stole this reading from someone else. And then now that we're on that subject, like, the message that's coming through is like, go with your strengths, right? Go with your strengths. You know, tarot cards and tarot readings are so popular, but they're not for everybody, right? They're not for everybody. Like me, I do tarot, but I more so do it for myself, because you really, really have to study. Like, for some people, they can pick up a deck and they can shuffle and the cards come out and they can tell a whole story flawlessly. For other people, like I said, tarot is nothing but cards. You can learn tarot just like you can learn how to play any other card game that's out there. But for some people, you really have to study the cards. You really have to study the cards. Like, you might get a 3 of Cups coming with let's say a 6 of Wands, which is like 6 of Wands is victory. And Three of Cups can either be talking about friendships or about collaboration. So it may be something about, okay, this collaboration is going to be very prosperous for you, right? There's going to be like a lot of good things that come from this collaboration. Or you could have a Three of Cups that comes out with like a Five of Wands, which Five of Wands is talking about what? Like competition. So it may be someone in this friendship group, or this friendship group is like in heavy competition with you. So it just all depends. Like the cards have their meanings, but when the cards come out together in a specific order, it can sometimes change the meaning, right? So like you have to study the cards. And there's something about like, there's someone that's doing tarot readings, but they're not studying the cards. They're just like, you're just like trying to like, there's like I said, the cards have a separate meaning when they're by themselves, but when they come out in a group, it tells a story. It changes the meaning. This card can mean one thing by itself, or it can mean one thing when it's with this card, or something else when it's in another card. So it's something about the need to study the cards. But then also, that's not even the message that I was getting. There's something about a need to like go with your strengths, right? I was hearing heavy, like go with your strengths. There are some people that when they put the cards down and they just start speaking freely, like they really start giving a message, right? They really like some of the realest and rawest messages come when people just start speaking freely, when you start speaking from the heart, or when you start speaking from like the mind. But like sometimes you're not even speaking from your mind. These are actually downloads that are coming through, right? Like me personally, I'm a little lazy for tarot, but that's just me, right? I'm a little lazy for tarot. I'm a vivid dreamer, and I'm an intuitive, right? 99% of my messages come from dreams and from downloads and from me being an intuitive, right? Just naturally picking up on things. I pick up on energy so easily that sometimes it's like I really had to get to a point before I started my channel. And the reason why I was so hesitant on starting my channel was because I really had to build up my spiritual protection, right? I had to build up my spiritual protection because I'm too sensitive to the energies around me. But that's just me, right? I encourage anyone that does any sort of spiritual content to be heavy on their spiritual protection. But either way, it's something about like going with your strength. It's something about if you're someone and you feel like you're not getting the attention that you want, it's because Spirit is telling you that you're not going with your strengths. You're going with what's popular. And Spirit is like, that's not the gift that I gave you. For someone, I'm getting like, you have the gift of gab. You have the gift of gab. You have like a way with words. And Spirit is telling you to go with the gift that I gave you. That's where the real clout is going to come from. You're just going with what's popular. But either way, nonetheless, because this is like so far off topic, I don't even know where I'm going with this anymore. It was just a message that like just came through. But there's something about like, there's no need to attack someone else just because you're not getting the outcome that you want. Because you try attacking someone, and by attacking that person or trying to knock that person off of their game, it's not going to all of a sudden, it's not like if you knock this person down, all of a sudden now all of their followers become yours. That's not how that works. It's not how that works. And like I said, it's not going to work anyways. We are in this Aries full moon. My ancestors, the message that they gave me yesterday, I was like, I don't even know if I want to share that, right? Because I tell y'all this, like I said, this attack was so weak, and with us being in a full moon in Aries, right, with Mars controlling this full moon, and with me being a Scorpio rising and being heavily controlled by Mars anyways, I have some like, I work with a lot of the deities of war, right? I work with a lot of deities of war. And when I said yesterday, I'm not going to do a return to sender, I'm not going to try to send anything back to this person, because ultimately, but personally, I should say, I feel sorry for this person. Like literally, my deities and my ancestors were like, you might not send anything back, but realize that don't mean that we won't, right? But I have no control over that. I don't have any control over the deities or what my ancestors decide to do. That's on them. And, you know, I don't have any control over that. But nonetheless, I was like, I don't even think it's worth it to send anything back, because the energy that I got, and part of the reason why this attack was so weak was because not only were the intentions off, but it's like this person's energy is so weak because they're so unhappy. I don't even want to say depressed, but I don't know what else to put it. This person is so unhappy. This person is literally so unhappy with where they are in life right now. They are so unhappy with feeling like they're being unheard and overlooked, that it's like their energy is so suppressed that it's almost like it's like shooting blanks. Like this person, whoever is doing this, like, because I didn't even look in to see who this is, because I don't care. It's pointless, right? But it's like whoever this person is, I'm not the only person that they've attacked, but literally their energy is so suppressed that they're just shooting blanks at this point. They're shooting blanks, but at some point, shooting blanks or not, they're gonna come across the wrong person. They're gonna attack the wrong person, and that person is gonna send something back. But like I said, like the energy, and I really hate to say this, and I've already said it, so there's no point in me being like I'm not gonna say it again. But like really, this person's energy felt so weak, but it felt like if one more thing in their life were to go wrong, they would probably just end it all. And I hate to say that. But at the same time, this is someone who is not getting the results that they want because they're not doing their spiritual work, right? Doing spiritual content. You know, I might even just title this that, because I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to title this. But doing spiritual content is not the same as doing spiritual work. This person has not done any real spiritual work. This person has not healed. Right? This person is still very easily triggered, to the point where if you're attacking random people because they say something that you don't like, or you see something that you don't like, that you would send out attacks because you're so easily triggered. You have not healed. You have not healed. It doesn't matter how many times someone goes online or goes on social media and says, I've done the work, I've healed, I've done this and I've done that. If you're that easily triggered, you've done nothing. You've done nothing, because doing spiritual content, once again, the third, fourth, fifth, however many times I've said it, is the charm. Doing spiritual content is not the same as doing spiritual work. A lot of y'all have not reached, right? Have not reached where you want to be. And it's not even just like, realize like the people who do content, this is not like, for everyone, this is not like their end all be all. You know what I mean? I do content, right? And I do want my channel to grow. I've openly admitted that already. I do want my channel to grow. But me doing content was about me stepping out of that fear of like putting myself out there, because I actually want to, I want to do something else. I have like a much bigger plan in the works, but there's something about me needing to put myself out there and get comfortable with putting myself out there and not just sitting in the shadows, in order for me to implement this plan or this goal that I really aspire, something that's much bigger, right? So please understand that, like, if doing content or whatever your goal is, if you're doing that and you're not getting the success that you want, it's because you haven't really put the work in, right? You haven't really put the work in, especially if you're a spiritualist and you're trying to petition spirit, right? Or you're trying to like accomplish your soul's mission. You have to put the work in before they're going to grant you, before the universe is going to grant you that level of success. You don't just wake up one morning and be like, okay, I'm ready for success. But what have you done to prepare yourself for it? Because if this is the mind frame and this is the state of mind that you're in, and if, like, first of all, if you're in this state of being anyways, your energy is very low. Your vibration is very low. Nothing about where your energy is vibrating at says that you are ready for the level of success that you say that you want. So you have to put the work in, and you have to start by doing your shadow work. And in doing that, you have to start by really healing that which is keeping you like feeling like, you know, nothing that you do is ever good enough. I'm sorry, y'all. I was still talking, but I had to cut that and then come back and re-record it. My coworkers and I were literally just talking last week about public speaking. Me and one of my other coworkers were talking about how we both have a fear of public speaking, and how back in college, when we had to take public speaking classes, I had to take the class twice, because the first time I took it, we had to do 3 speeches, and I bust out crying in the first one. And so I ended up dropping the class because I was like, I can't do this. And then the teacher told me, she was like, taking my class during the summer, because she was like, for the summer session, we only have, like, because it was like a June session and July session. She was like, for the summer session, because we only have 4 weeks, I give y'all a couple of assignments, but we only have one major project where you have to stand up and speak. So you only have to do it once. And, you know, it took everything. I got through it, because she was like, what I do. She said, all of my students that have trouble with public speaking, I urge them to take my summer class. And she was like, some students take it because they want to just get it out the way. So she said, what I do is, for my summer class, after you give your speech, you don't have to come back to class, because that's your final. That's the big project. That's your final. You're done. So she was like, all of my ones who have trouble, I urge them to go last. She said, if you come to me and you talk to me, I'll put you last. That way there's only either just you and me if you're the very last person, or if you're near the end, it's like you and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 other person in the class, right? So I went towards the very end. I was like within the last like 3, right? And still, I got all the way to the end, and I started feeling it in my throat. Like when your throat start feeling like sore and you can feel it coming. But like I was really bad with filler words, and like now I'm doing it now. Now even as I'm talking about it, saying like after every couple of words, I was doing so much better, because sometimes I have to really be intentional about the words. Sometimes I do so much better when I take notes, but I hate doing these when I'm reading my notes because it sounds scripted. So I try to just take my notes, sit down, write down my downloads and all that, and then I try to like get my thoughts together and then start my recordings. But then when I do that, sometimes I go on these tangents, I lose my train of thought, and then I just start talking about random things. But anyways, I just heard myself saying like so much that I was like, let me cut this and start back over. So I apologize. But anyways, this is so much longer than it was supposed to be. This was only supposed to be a quick, I know what you're doing and it's not working, but it ended up coming so much more, because I feel like there's always a lesson to be learned, right? Because like I said, I feel sorry for the person who did this. So I feel like instead of this being like, here I go again, being one of those things where it's like, I know who you are and I know what y'all know why I'm getting taken. I know who you are and I know whatever he says, right? I felt like this was a good teaching moment. I felt like it was a perfect teaching moment. But like I said, if you are someone and you are getting so easily offended, so easily triggered, did I say a trigger? If you're getting so easily offended and so easily triggered by things that other people are saying, by things that other people are posting, by people getting the things that you want, right? Whether it's acknowledgement or attention or whatever, there's no need to attack that person, because attacking that person does not mean that what they attained all of a sudden becomes yours, right? Even if you're trying to destiny swap, with that type of energy, that's not going to work anyways. And I don't know why you would want to do that when you could just do the work and get what you have coming to you. What's for you is for you. No one can take away. So why try to take something of someone else's when you could just do the work to obtain yours yourself? But a lot of people, unfortunately, don't want to do the work. And I'm not even going to say don't want to do the work. A lot of people don't know how to do the work, right? Because a lot of people going on this path assume that by creating spiritual content that constitutes them doing spiritual work. Like, I put in a lot of work. I do this, I do that. I have this content, that channel. I got, this YouTube, that Instagram, whatever. But that's just content. It's just content. It's not spiritual work. In order for you to get to that place that you want to be, in order for you to reach that level of success that you aspire to attain, you have to actually do the work. Anyways, y'all, this has been long enough. This has been more than long enough. I'm going to go ahead and end this here. As always, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. Bye.